You feel certain, like you'll find that you can hear from somebody a truth and even know intellectually that what you feel is an error and still not be able to get rid of it. You can't use your mind to force the soul to get rid of something, because the soul is here and your mind is here. The mind's in your spirit body, the soul is its feelings and emotions and desires and passions, and that is the soul's mind, by the way. The way the soul thinks is like that. So what you call thinking is really what I would say to you is the soul feeling, right? The equivalent of the soul feeling. So when the soul thinks, it feels, right? Interestingly enough, in this mind, you can think without feeling. You do that many times, right? But the soul's not capable of that. It's not capable of thought without feeling. You want to ask Tim?
So we can have thoughts without any feeling being behind it?
Sorry, have thoughts without
any feeling driving the thoughts?
Yes, you can. Although a better way of saying it is you can have thoughts that you don't understand the feelings driving them. And so you think the feelings don't exist, but they actually do. You understand? So a better way of stating the truth of it is that many of the thoughts that you have are actually driven by emotions that you're unaware of, but could be aware of, but you're unaware of them, and so you think the thoughts are independent, but they're actually being driven by emotions that are quite plain. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or aspirations. Not just emotions,
not just
also
emotions.
Aspirations.
Yeah, in the Paget messages, this is another thing you'll read, right? We often talk about aspiration. You've seen that for those of you who've read, yes? Aspiration. We often talk about desire. We often talk about passion. We often talk about longing. We even talk about addictions, and we call them the evil loves of the soul. You understand? So even your addictions, they're not just in your body. They're the out of harmony with love way you love. Or you could call them the evil loves of your soul, right? So your addiction are like loves that you feel passionate longing for, that embrace, right? You can see from all of these words, these are all words that in the Paget messages, we couldn't share with Ned, with James Paget, very easily the whole idea of emotion. He was a very intellectual man. He was a lawyer. And any of you had experience with lawyers? How many of you are a lawyer? No? But generally, they become very intellectually dominant, don't they? Because they're always about, how can we work around this? How can we sort this out? There's always the sort of mind involved. And this was his trouble too. His mind was involved, and the main reason why we could communicate with him was when it came to his wife, which he had just lost, she died, he was not in his mind. He was in his feelings, right? And that is what enabled us to have some influence over his soul, and also therefore what he was willing to write as a result. But it all happened because he became so emotionally overwrought, but as part of that he opened up a part of his soul that he'd kept closed for a long time before she passed, and as a result it enabled an openness with his soul where people who were in the soul could communicate with him better. Make sense? So these things are all a part of your soul. So that includes your addictions. They're all a part of the soul as well. So you could say you can have aspiration which is positive, can't you? In harmony with love. And you can have aspirations that are negative, can't you? Which we'd call evil, out of harmony with love. You can have desires that are positive, like in harmony with love, but also desires that are out of harmony with love, evil, wrong, like not going to help you or anybody else. You can have passions and longings the same way, right? You can have them in one direction or the other, but the fact that you have them, they're a part of the soul. Yep? So the question then becomes, if prayer is the soul-based feelings, can you see it's the sum of the soul-based feelings, and in case of prayer, directed towards God. If it was a relationship, it would be the sum of those feelings directed towards, in my case, Mary. Right? And it's interesting with the soul because it's not just directed towards the people you intend it to be directed towards. And when I say intend it with your mind. Because your mind doesn't have control over it. So when a feeling exists in your soul, it is like an antenna going out to everybody. Anybody can feel it. Not just the person that you feel it for, but anybody else can feel it too. So when I have feelings for Mary, you can feel them if you want to, right? You're not going to feel them aimed at you. There's a difference between you knowing that you're the intended party versus you knowing that you're not. And that occurs in the soul as well. So you can feel a person has an intention or a feeling without, and also at the same time know that it wasn't towards you. Many of you are responding to this all the time. This is why sometimes you feel like, oh, I wanted to talk to that person. Other times you feel like, I don't want to talk to that person at all. And nothing was ever said because you can feel things from them that are in disharmony with how you feel. And all of this communication goes on at the soul level, and I would say like 99% of you don't realise that 99% of what you feel, you don't realise. Does that make sense? In other words, you're feeling things, but you're not recognising them in the moment that they're going out to everybody, and what you're getting is a response from everybody about what you're feeling. This is the power of being in a more loving condition as well. The more loving condition you're in, the more positive feelings are going out from you, and the more people feel that. Now, they don't react well necessarily because their feelings might be opposite to it, opposing it. And so some people you can have a positive feeling towards, like, for example, I'm not going to meet your addiction. That's a feeling I have. Most of you feel pretty bad about it. And when I meet you, you go, oh, all strange with me, and oh, I'm trying to get an addiction and what he's not responding, and there's all sorts of things going on for many of you in that moment, not realising that actually you're feeling a feeling from me and you don't like it. Make sense? And then there's other feelings you like if you're a man who's been mummied by his mother all of your life until you're in your 30s, every woman you meet you're going to want to mother you. And that's going to be a feeling coming out of you. And if there's a woman out there, and there's many, most, who are willing to mother these, shall we say, boys that appear to be men, but they're not yet, right? Because they can't handle their own feelings. And so what happens is that one of the women in the audience will feel that and they'll want to mother you. And for some reason they feel drawn to talk to you and drawn into mothering you and drawn into making... And you feel, oh, that's fantastic. You know, I feel loved now. But if a woman comes along and she doesn't want to mother you, what do you feel then? You know, something's wrong with this girl, like with woman. I'm not, something put me off there. And all of this is happening, for the most part, without you being conscious as to why. Right? A self-aware person is conscious as to why. But most of us are not that self-aware when it comes to our soul, because we've never been taught to become soul-centric. We've been taught to become mind-dominant, not soul-centric. Right? From a very young age, usually connection with your soul is educated out of you. Yep. It starts with your parents, and then it just goes on from there. Society, educated out away. So for the most part, the majority of us don't have a real connection with our own soul, our own feelings, passions, desires, longings, loves. We don't even really know what they are, because we've been taught to be so distant from them as to be that they're not even apparent to us anymore. We're not even conscious of them anymore. That's a problem.